Should you set your hopes high for the food at the Grand Muthu Cayo Guillermo?
Some of the biggest concerns when traveling to Cuba revolve around the quality and availability of food.
This is Jenn and Ryan from Everest Travels. We visited the resort, and today we're going to tell you about the restaurant options on site.
Food quality, shortages, and our highlights and lowlights with the goal of helping you set your expectations on what you may experience when traveling here.
If you find this video helpful, please leave a like and subscribe for more videos from this resort and around Cuba.
Now, before we begin, we want to recognize that Cuba does go through regular food shortages. Depending on when you arrive, all options may not be on the menu on any given day depending on availability. You'll never be left without anything to eat, but your favorite item or condiment could be there one day, but may not be available the next. That's just the reality. For us, it wasn't a reason not to go, but it's good to know this to avoid disappointment, and we always recommend setting your expectations accordingly.
All right, with that out of the way, let's dig in.
Across the Grand Muthu Cayo Guillermo, there are plenty of places to eat. For places you can just stroll into without a reservation, there's a buffet that serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Also, at lunchtime, SeaSky restaurant opens near the beach, serving pizza and pasta. And for more of an anytime eats option, you can pull up a chair at the snack bar that's open early and keeps serving food late into the night.
For a more catered experience, you can book a la carte restaurants. There's a desk located in the main lobby that lets you set your meals for the week. We recommend going to this shortly after checking in, as some of the a la cartes can fill up quickly. For options, there are two lunch a la carte restaurants that require reservations called Jardin and Sendero, and restaurants available to book for dinner: India Spice, Little Italy, Aqua, and The Orchard.
Out of all the places you'll eat at the Grand Muthu, you'll likely spend your most time at the Golden Cuba Buffet. For breakfast, you'll find a selection of breads, eggs, bacon, pancakes, smoothies, and more. They even have an omelet making station, and on occasion, they do have a fresh pancake station. If you're like us, we love bacon with breakfast, but the one thing we noticed was it did come a little undercooked, so if you come across that issue, you can just take over a plate of bacon to the omelet station and they can give it a bit of an extra crisp.
For lunch, some of the food swaps out to more meats, salads, and a station where they'll freshly grill beef or pork to your liking. They also had a seafood station where you could grill fresh mussels, fish, and other foods. There's also a selection of dessert foods, which are mostly cake based. Plus, they have some jello and some ice cream. While on resort, they regularly served vanilla, strawberry, and mango ice cream.
For dinner, it was really more of the same as what you found at lunch. No new stations, but returning favorites like the pasta, the seafood, and the beef and pork stations. You may also come across activities here from time to time, especially in the evening, with music and face painting regularly occurring at the buffet.
Overall, the food wasn't bad. We could always find something new to try, but nothing blew us away as the reason we had to keep coming back again and again. In fact, after a while, we got quite bored with the options, which is why we were grateful to have booked some a la carte restaurants shortly after checking in.
Another lunch option, and our go to whenever we started our day at the beach, was SeaSky Restaurant. No reservations were required, and once this joint opens at 1 p.m., you can just make your way over to enjoy some Italian cuisine. They specialize in pizza and pasta here, but there's no limit on how much you can order. That's actually the big difference from the buffet to here. You order your food. And the pizza, it's not that big or frankly that great. The amount of cheese, it varied from pizza to pizza, but the taste and quality was decent. Not good, not great, but decent.
The pasta came out hot and was a good option too. If you do come here, we'd recommend order both a pizza and a pasta dish. You may not finish them both at the table, but you can take it to munch on it later at the beach or elsewhere across the resort.
Now, if you're feeling peckish at any time of the day, you can go to the Sugar Spice Snack Bar located by the main pool area. It's not a huge menu here, but it is an option that opens early and stays open late, even providing you nourishment in the hours when the buffet is closed. Now, again, going back to the options, not a lot. Ham and cheese sandwiches, grilled cheese, tuna and chicken salad, Sammy's, French fries, and on even a special occasion, you can find poutine. Yes, poutine in Cuba.
We found this a great option for late night snacks after theater shows, or drinks as the lobby bar closes at 11. However, a warning and something that's common across many Cuban resorts with open air snack bars: be cautious of the birds. Don't leave your food unattended, as the birds will be ready to swoop in and poop in your chair.
And we're not kidding about this. The birds can be vicious. They get right up close to you with the food. There's nothing the resort can really do, but just check your chair before sitting in it because you don't want to sit in something that wasn't meant to be sat in.
There are 4 restaurants available to book for dinner: India Spice, Little Italy, Aqua, and The Orchard. For lunch, 2 cute spots open near the beach called El Jardin and Sendero. During our stay, both Aqua and The Orchard were under renovations, so they were serving a combined menu out of one of the other restaurants under an international menu.
We were able to make reservations at 3 restaurants for dinner and one for lunch.
The first restaurant we checked out was India Spice, which is an Indian restaurant, and first impressions were really great. The space was very colorful and just overall good vibes.
Just like you'll find across the entire resort, the staff here was extremely friendly. They start you off with a basket of warm bread. It kind of had like a sweet flavor to it too. This is a fixed menu, so you don't get to choose what you're getting. You just sit down and you're here for the experience. Now, this first item, it was like a fried little piece of heaven. I heard some people say it was a bit spicy. I didn't find it spicy. How about you? Was it too hot?
No, it wasn't too spicy for me. I think the Indian restaurant is aware of its clientele, so none of the spicy foods were really that spicy.
I really enjoyed the main dish here. It was a selection of different menu items. You had your beef, your chicken, your fish, your rice. I don't want to be jumping the gun here, but this might have been my favorite a la carte on the whole resort.
This was a pretty good a la carte restaurant. We really did enjoy the food there. Following dinner was a dessert of ice cream with cake that had like an orange syrup on top. Not gonna lie, that wasn't my favorite. That's where kind of the food kind of went downhill for me. Not a big fan of that orange syrup. Tasted like medicine to me.
We returned to the same venue the next night, but it wasn't operating as India Spice. Instead, the international menu combining options from both Aqua and the Orchard, which were closed down at the time. Again, they start you with some warm bread before giving you the choice of a cream cheese dish or tuna salad. I chose the tuna salad and I found it light, refreshing, and it had a lot of flavor to it.
The cream cheese was basically a cheesy soup. It wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it wasn't that nice.
For the mains, the orchard option was the chicken cordon bleu, and for aqua, a seafood medley. We ordered one of each.
The chicken was pretty decent. I actually really did enjoy that. The rice was cold, but everything else on the plate was really good.
The seafood medley, it was fine. I was definitely thinking about that tuna salad while eating it. Calamari across the resort is great, so that was the highlight of the medley, but there wasn't a lot in it, so that was a bit disappointing. The chicken cordon bleu, to me, looked better. I even had a bite, and I thought it had the superior taste, but I wasn't disappointed with the seafood medley. It just looked like, in this case, the grass was greener on the other side.
Little Italy's Italian restaurant, and it was the only a la carte that we experienced that actually had a menu. We started with bread, which was really nice and warm with some butter on the side.
I felt like this place was a finely oiled machine. We started by all ordering a round of antipastos, which was sliced bread and a mixture of ham and mixed veggies on top. Personally, I chose the pizza off the menu, and it was better than the SeaSky restaurant pizza, but I wouldn't have a late night craving to order this pizza on Uber Eats. The quality was higher, still not my favorite pizza that I ever had.
I had the lasagna, the flavors were there, but it did come out semi cold. I'm not sure if it was done a little bit earlier in the night and just kind of reheated it, but pretty good. One thing I will say about all 3 a la carte restaurants is that the AC is very strong. So please bring a shawl or a sweater when going into the a la carte restaurants. You're going to be cold.
Adding a bit more atmosphere to each of the a la cartes, you can expect dinner and a show because musicians roam around from restaurant to restaurant asking if you want to have a relaxed or an upbeat song to enjoy while you're eating or waiting for your meal.
The a la cartes are 100% worth it. Just make sure that you reserve a spot right out of the gate when you first arrive at the resort.
You can also reserve at the same area that you booked those dinner a la cartes, lunch a la cartes. There's two of them, Sendero and El Jardin. We ate at El Jardin, and boy, oh boy, am I glad we did. This is definitely one of the better meal experiences we had. Just look at this atmosphere. You're nestled into this cool green area with lots of trees. You can smell the fresh barbecue in the background. There's some light music going on, and the service is excellent. But once the food comes, it is lights out.
So when you're there, you get to pick between the pork or a fish. We recommend you get the fish. They recommend you get the fish. The fish is probably the tastiest thing they have there. It is so good.
Not only was the service the best that we experienced in the whole resort show to Anya, the fish was just so good, just an explosion of flavor, and the rice was top notch. Once I finished my plate off the first time, she asked if I wanted seconds, and of course I said yes.
And even our daughter, one of the pickiest eaters in the world, loved the fish so much. She ate the whole thing. She loved it. It was just that good.
In addition to everything we've already talked about, other spots that you can find food throughout the resort include a churro stand that we were told would open, but when we were there, it never opened. So if you visit, fingers crossed you get a churro. There was a mini burger area on Cuban Day, and Hemingway Square, which is only about a 5-minute walk from the main lobby, has a big party night where you can go and enjoy some free food, including a pig roast. There is also a restaurant there on site, but it does cost an extra fee. A short walk down the beach for about $33 Canadian or 27 USD. You can also check out the Lobster Shack. We highly recommend this. We have a video coming out about the Lobster Shack, so subscribe if you want to see that. But if you're coming to the Grand Muthu and you don't want to eat at the resort every single day, this might be a good option for you, especially if you love lobster, because we didn't find it anywhere on the resort.
I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised by the food quality at the Grand Muthu. We've been to Cuba a couple of times now, so we kind of learned to set our expectations a certain way when it comes to the food. And truly, this is the first time that I feel we got some really good Cuban food. From the fresh seafood, the rices, I mean, there were some really quality meals.
Again, it all came down to expectations, and we didn't set them too high, and because of that, we were pleasantly surprised.
If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing for more Cuba travel videos, including resort reviews.
And while you're here, you can check out our ultimate review of the Grand Muthu Cayo Guillermo, talking about everything from the beach, the pools, the rooms, drinks, and more by clicking the video link on the screen.